Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be the 26 books I'd like to read in 2026 and also some series that I'd like to finish. This video obviously does the rounds each year and I've seen it doing the rounds already. I do feel like this might be my last one of like matching the number to the year because 26 books was kind of hard to choose, to be honest. For 2025 my reading goal was 76 books and I think by the end of the year I'm going to be 5 off, so I would have read 71. So this year I'm choosing 50 books for my reading goal, which obviously means 26 to hope to read is actually quite a lot given that I'm a mood reader. So we'll see if I do get to all of these, but yeah. My goal for this year is 50 just because last year, almost half of the year, I was working part-time and it was more shift work. So I had kind of afternoons off, that kind of thing. And obviously now I work full-time. So next year is going to be 50. So let's just get straight into it. I'm going to start with romance because it is my biggest pile, but I think I have more fantasy books on my TBR. So the first book on my romance list is Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. This is the third book in the When in Rome series. That's a series I really love. I've read all of the books, or both books so far, over 4 stars. So I have pretty high hopes for this one. And I know I'm going to enjoy it, but I also just want to like keep up with the series because the 4th book comes out this year and I feel like it could be the last of the series just because of like the family that's involved in it. This is my first one. Then I have one that's really intimidating to me and it feels a bit silly at this point. It was also on my 25 for 2025. That's Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. This is it's just an emotional read. It's a childhood friends to lovers, second chance, very similar to Every Summer After, which I did really love. And I cried at that book, and it's one of the only books I've ever cried at. So it's just intimidating to me, but I do feel like I'm at the point now where it is a bit silly because it's just a romance book. I mean, obviously it's emotional, but I really want to get to this one. So next, kind of similar to Beg, Borrow, or Steal, I have Daydream by Hannah Grace. This is the 3rd book in the Maple Hills series, and I don't believe there's been any talk of any other books, but I feel like there is room for that, so maybe this isn't the last book. At the moment it is. So this is one of the series I'd like to finish in 2026. I have enjoyed the other 2 books. I really loved Icebreaker when I read it, but it was quite a few years ago now, so I do feel like if I don't read this year, it might never get read. Then next is a series I'd like to start, which is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This is the Rose Hill series, I'm pretty sure. I'm obviously a little bit behind on this, but it's because Chestnut Springs took me a little bit of a while, and then I kind of wanted to start the Rebel Blue Ranch series and go through that before I went into these, but I happen to have 2 of these books and I've only read and have done and dusted, so I'm going to start the series because there's no point in buying more books. Everyone loves it. Everyone who loves Chestnut Springs loves this series as well, so why not just start it? The next I have How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwon. This one I honestly don't know too much about. I think I've spoken about it before. I think it's something to do with like maybe movie writers or something. It's based in Los Angeles, I'm pretty sure. I just know that it's pretty popular. Reese's Book Club had it obviously, and Emily Henry has a little comment on it, so I feel like I'm gonna like it, but I actually don't know too much about it. Then for my 6th book I have If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. This is obviously a very autumnal romance. Again, know nothing about it. I know a lot of people read it this year and did really enjoy it, so that's honestly why it's on here. I read Falling Like Leaves last autumn, which I think was slightly more like a young adult version. It was really good and it was very like atmospheric for the time. I feel like I wanted to choose another romance to read in that time period. Then my 7th book is The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This one is honestly just because I love the rom-commers by Catherine Center, which I read in 2025, and I would just like to keep the ball rolling with Catherine Center's books, and this one is definitely more of a beloved one than some of her others, and it's also very thin. I feel like all of the other ones I've shown you have been very thick. This is a nice thin one, so I really should get to this one. And then my final romance book is The Favourites by Lane Fargo. I feel like this is a romance, but it's kind of like a little bit fiction as well. I just think I'm really going to love this one. It kind of gives me obviously Icebreaker vibes in a way, because Icebreaker followed an ice skater, and it did give me an idea of the kind of relationship that ice skaters in like couples have. So I'm going into this with a tiny bit of knowledge, but obviously not a lot. I just really am excited to read this and see what the hype is about. I feel like everyone's loved this, and I really like ice skating like as a activity, but also the vibes of books that follow ice skating is just really fun. I don't know. So next I'm going to start on my fantasy books. This is my longest list, I'm pretty sure, and realistically I probably won't get to all of these. I feel like fantasy is very much one that I have to be in the mood for, and I also tend to not read it in summer. I love fantasy, and I've definitely become more of a fan as I've got older. So my ninth book is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. This is the first book in the Crescent City series. I think my main goal for 2026 is to read and finish this series. So this is another one that is in my finishing series for 2026. It's obviously fic. All of the books are fic. I'm pretty sure the third one is almost or more than Kingdom of Ash. It's definitely an intimidating one, but that's why it's like my biggest goal. And if I don't get to any of these other fantasy books, it'll be okay if I finish the series. Obviously, I do really want to read the series just because I love Sarah J Maas's worlds and everyone talks about it, that kind of thing. But also, I feel like it would just be really nice to tick off her books and not have to like think about them, not have to think about how I'm behind once I finished it, and I can just kind of go with the flow as they come out. Because I do feel like one of my friends, she read, I don't know if it was ACOTAR, I think it might have even been Throne of Glass as it was coming out, and she always talks about how amazing it was. And obviously it's not the same now because it's a much bigger fan base, but I would love to be in that crowd as the books come out. So this is like my highest of the year. For my number 10, this is another extremely well loved book, and another one that I have been putting off, honestly, just because I've been trying to get through Sarah J Maas books. So this is Fourth Wing. I obviously have like the trade paperback version. I've had this for over a year now, and I do just want to get to it because everyone loves it. I do think I will really love it. I'm just going to see how it goes, but it's not going to be one that I actively talk about, I guess, and it might be one that I don't get to, but I would like to see what the hype was about this one in particular. Then next I have One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This one I've obviously talked about in a few of my other videos. It's just one that I really want to get to. I know I'm going to like it. It might be one that I read kind of sooner because I think it's more of like a wintry autumn kind of read, so I might try and get it done earlier in the year. I've just had this for ages. I'd like to get to it. It's obviously a duology, so this is one that I could finish in 2026 if I read this soon, but it's not on my list to finish because I don't want to put pressure on it. And then speaking of ones that I've been putting off for ages, I have Belladonna by Adeline Grace. This is one that I've had for like 3 years, I'm pretty sure at this point. I don't know why I haven't got to it. I think I just keep putting pressure to read this in autumn and I just don't get to it, which then means I wait another year. But I do think it's going to be really good in autumn. I know the premise, but I don't know more than like the death aspect of this book, and I don't really want to know more because I just want to really enjoy it, and I do think I'll love this book. After reading Phantasma in October, I just know that this is going to be a perfect book for like October time, and I don't want to like ruin it by reading it another time of the year. If I don't read this in autumn of 2026, I might have to just unhaul it because it's getting a bit silly. And kind of piggybacking off of that, I also have A Tempest of Tea. This is one that I've had less time than Belladonna, but another one that I have been like trying to save for autumn. I think it's less dependent on autumn, so I might try and read this like in the spring, maybe. I don't know. It's because it's vampires, and obviously I link vampires to autumn, but maybe it'll be a good like August read. But it's another one that if I don't get to it this year, I might have to unhaul. And then my final physical book that I have for the fantasy genre is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This one is very high on my TBR just because I loved Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and I know this is a bit more slower paced, a bit less romance based, but I do think I'll really enjoy it. It's just one that I don't want to rush reading, and I obviously would prefer to read and finish the Crescent City series. So it's one that I'll start if I finish Crescent City. So we'll just have to see. I'm obviously not going to put a limit on reading the series this year because there's 3 books and I already have a series that I really want to read. But I would like to start the series. It's just whether I get to it. And then the two books that I don't have physical copies for is Rebel Witch. This is the second book in the Crimson Moth series, which is one of the ones I'd like to finish this year. It's a duology, so just reading this one will finish the series, and I do really want to get to it. I didn't read it last year because it was like £8 on Kindle, and I just can't justify that. I do obviously just want to get to this book because I loved Crimson Moth. That's kind of my only reasoning, but I'm sure if you've read Crimson Moth, you know the feeling. You just want to get to Rebel Witch. So I definitely will be reading it this year, and if I don't, I'll be very shocked. And then the other one is Silver Elite. This one I don't know too much about, to be honest. I just know everyone loved it, so it's high on my TBR from that sense, but I think I do need the physical copy to pick it up. So the pre-order I think finishes in February, so it'll be out in paperback in February or March. So hopefully I get to it, but it's definitely lower on my list. And then I have 3 thrillers that I'd like to get to. The first one is The Housemaid's Secret by Freida McFadden. This is another series that I would like to finish in 2026. There's obviously this book and then the third one, which I don't know the name of. I just want to get to this one because I feel like the hype is still there for me. They're very fast paced. I think a lot of people actually prefer this one, so I'm intrigued to see what that's about. Fingers crossed I do finish the series in 2026. And then my 18th book is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I've only put one Riley Sager book on my TBR for this year. I have, I think, 3 or 4 at this point. And I do like his writing. I think I've said it before. I just don't know if I will actually get to it. I've only put 3 thrillers for this because I'm definitely falling out of love with that genre. It's just one that I really have to be in the mood for. And there used to be ones that I could just pick up as like a filler book or like a gap between genres, but now I'm never in the mood, and if I am in the mood then I'll pick it up and I'll enjoy it, but we'll just have to see. This is the one that stands out the most to me of all of his books, so that's why it's on this list. And then my third thriller is one that I got for Christmas, so I do actually really want this one, and I know a couple of my friends have read it and really enjoyed it, and I know it's a bit more up my alley in terms of thrillers, and it's Bright Young Women. This one is based on a real infamous serial killer, probably the most famous one, and like one specific element of his case or spree, I guess. I'm interested in it for that reason and like the reality of it, but also obviously it's a fiction and it is separate from that, so I'm intrigued to see how it goes. And then finally I have some like literary fiction or just general fiction books. The first one I would like to get to is The Winners by Fredrik Backman. It's the last book in the Beartown trilogy and I have really enjoyed it so far. It's just a very big book, so it's on my list, but it's not on my list to finish this year because I don't want to pressure myself. I do kind of feel like this year maybe I just want to go with the flow a bit more rather than just choosing a book and reading it, because I feel like last year I did kind of do that with Us Against You, and I was like, it's winter, I need to read Us Against You. It actually wasn't even based in winter in the end, so I just want to be a bit more loose with that one, but I do want to get to it. And then the other book I don't have a physical copy of is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one has been really well loved and popular since it's come out, and I just don't have it because the paperback's not out. I believe the paperback might be out in April. I might have made that up, but it's one I would like to get to because I obviously have loved a few of her other books and I think I will love this one, so I want to get to that one. Then for 22 I have The Academy by Ellen Hildebrand and her daughter Shelby Cunningham. This one is a bit of a random one, but I have seen a lot of people talking about it recently. I don't know too much about it. I have read an Ellen Hildebrand book before and I have enjoyed it, so I feel like this is just a bit of a change of scenery, obviously, because she normally does summer books. And I'm just interested because I'm pretty sure her daughter went to a private school in America, which in itself I'm interested in because I'm pretty sure it's not common over there. And I wonder how similar it is to what we have in the UK. But also, I just feel like it would be a nice change of book for like the autumn period. I'm 22 and I'm going to be 23 in January. So I feel like I do kind of need to get to these kind of books sooner rather than later. Then for 23, I have The Vanishing Half. This one I'm pretty sure was on my 2025 books as well. I didn't get to it, but it's one that I do feel like I just need to pick up on a whim. So this is again a very loose book in terms of my TBR, but I would like to get to it. My mum read it and gave it to me, so I would like to read it just for that sake and like talk to her about it. It's just like a literary fiction. It follows 2 twins and I think they like had different lives, so it's kind of seeing the differences between them. So I just think that's going to be very interesting to read about. Then for 24, I have Cleopatra and Frankenstein. This one is one that I've kind of put on here as a random book, I guess, or like a back burner book. I read Blue Sisters last year and I did quite like it. That's why I'm like kind of iffy on this one, but I also think I would like to have some more maybe books that I see as challenging, I guess. I wouldn't say this is challenging, but I feel like it's one that could put me in a reading slump, I guess. I don't know if that made any sense, but the other book I have that's kind of similar is Right by Sarah Rose Etter. This one is obviously thinner, which makes a big difference. I know kind of a bit more about what it's about. It's following a female main character who is kind of getting burnt out from her work, but she also has some like mental struggles going on, and I just think it will be one again kind of similar where it's a little bit challenging in terms of my emotional headspace, that kind of thing, but it's one that I would like to have there in case I want to read it. And then my final book for my 26 books for 2026 is The Woman by Kristen Hanna. I do just really want to get to. I feel like everyone talks about it. I really want to read The Nightingale, to be honest, and I have wanted to for a few years now, but I think this one might be a bit lighter. I think it's still emotional, but I think it might be a better one to ease myself into Kristen Hanna's writing, and I think I'm going to put on my goals for 2026 to read a Kristen Hanna book, and most likely it will be this one. So those are all the books that I have on my 26 books for 2026. The final series I'd like to finish is the Natural series. I haven't put it on this list, but they're very quick paced books and I do think I could just get to them even if I listen to them. So that's the 5th series I'd want to finish in 2026. But yeah, those are all my books. I do think it was quite hard to pick 26, to be honest, which I think is also a bad thing in a way because it means that I'm not really excited to read all of the books on my bookcase. I have a lot of books in my TBR, and the fact that I don't even have a full 26 from my physical TBR because I had some that were pre-order and some that I don't have physical copies of. It's probably a bad thing and I probably should unhaul some of my books, but I don't know, I just have like a connection to them. I can't get rid of them. But yeah, I am excited for 2026. I'm excited to see if I can reach my goal of 50 and just what kind of books I get to. Like, will I actually get to any thriller books? We'll have to see. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed and I will see you in 2026.